So I should be recording now. Okay, so thank you all again for coming. This is our final host site prep for your Vistas that are going to be joining you in just a few days on next week, really next Wednesday is our first day with you. So we're going to be going through all sorts of reporting requirements, compliance pieces, just a general overview to make sure that we're all on the same page about what we're here to do. And I will put you all on mute. I think that most of you are muting yourself, but before that, let's just go around and say who we are and what site we are, and where. So who you are, where you're located in the state, and then what your program is, who you're with organizationally. And I guess I'll start over here. So my name is Erin. I manage the Montana Campus Compact Vista program.
I'm Heidi, and I work with recruitment, and I'm the program specialist here.
So I might just call on folks. Kathy, do you mind, since I can see your face here, do you mind introducing yourself?
Sure, I'm Kathy Teddy. I'm in Butte, and I'm hosting the Kids Coalition Vista.
Thanks, Kathy. Tim,
hey, I'm Jessica.
Sorry, go ahead.
Jessica Allred in Missoula. I work with Missoula Food Bank.
Great, Jessica.
This is Ellie Costello with the Mud Project.
Hi,
in
Ellie.
Missoula.
Great.
Hi.
This is Julie Walker with the Montana Department of Labor and Industry, also representing the governor's office here. We will be hosting two Vistas. They will both be working on equal pay for equal work initiatives. One will be a STEM focus, and the other will be a wage negotiation focus.
Julie.
I'm Tim Dwyer. I'm with Friends of the Missouri Breaks. I'm the executive director. We'll be hosting a Vista to work on STEM up in central Montana.
Thank you, Tim.
Hey, Tim, did you used to work at MCC?
I did. Yes, 14 years.
Nice. Yeah, I was on a crew a while ago. I don't know if you remember me.
I remember you.
Okay, yeah, that's me.
Small town. Okay, well, I think that's everyone. So it looks like, again, most of the folks are putting themselves on mute, but I will just mute everyone right now. You can certainly unmute yourself throughout this presentation to ask questions, to chime in, etc. So right now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So if you are watching this presentation, you should now see, let's go away, a slideshow. While I get this set up here. Okay, and if anyone does not see this, so it should say a slideshow with MTCC Vista site requirements on it. If you cannot see that, please, like I said, chime in. There's also a chat box, which I failed to mention. Okay, let's get going. So we just introduced ourselves, but you are part of a larger piece of the puzzle here. We've got many sites and many projects ongoing in the state of Montana. We've had a big class of Vistas start up in the summertime, July, August, and September. So overall, starting with including you folks, this January class starting halfway through this kind of bigger picture of Vistas out in Montana. We've got sites in Missoula, or projects and Vistas in Missoula, Hamilton, Lame Deer, Helena, Bozeman, Poplar, Great Falls, Kalispell, Butte, and Pablo. And like I said, we've got some nice big hubs of Vistas that will certainly be working to connect your Vista to all the Vistas around the state, but certainly those in your local community. Just a brief overview to make sure that we all have the understanding of who Montana Campus Compact is and what a Vista is. There are lots of different Vista projects, or we call them intermediaries, in the state of Montana. Your Vista is a Montana Campus Compact Vista. So again, we are a statewide coalition of colleges and universities. We're committed to addressing community needs through the resources of higher education. This is going to be a theme throughout your Vista year. We'll get into kind of more specifically who we are and why that matters to your Vista here in a little bit. Primary focus of Vista is to build capacity for your organization and to ultimately bring low-income individuals and communities out of poverty. This is an anti-poverty federal program that we that we are in charge of in the state of Montana. And just to give you a sense of the bigger picture here, this is a nice little flow chart. So AmeriCorps Vista is a federal program under the Corporation for National and Community Service. We have a state office in Montana that helps to delegate federal funds to these intermediaries around the state. And you can see in that red circle over here to the right that Montana Campus Compact is an intermediary. Your organization is that purple house. And then you are the sub-site supervisor. We call you a host site supervisor, but again, or sub-site supervisor, and then your Vistas. So that's kind of the flow of communication and information. That your main communication will be us at Montana Campus Compact, and Montana Campus Compact will mainly be conversing with the state office, and then higher up from there. Again, stop me for questions at any point. This is a poorly designed chart, but kind of getting into more detail, and there's that nice flow, but there's also a lot of crossing and mixing of who you're going to be communicating with and who your Vista will be communicating with. We have a great resource in our office called the Vista Leader. His name is Sam, and he'll be serving through the end of July, this July 2017. And that's going to be your Vista's, really their main resource for questions regarding immersing into your community in terms of reporting requirements, in terms of finding meaning and service. They're, of course, going to be collaborating with you and asking you these questions, but they have this, again, this great resource, this Vista leader who has a year of Vista service already under his or her belt that really provides some great advice and communication to your Vista member. And then kind of up on the chain here with the Vista program manager, that's me. We're mostly going to be in communication here between you as a site supervisor and me as a program manager. The Vista leader will probably not be contacting you. Your Vista probably won't be directly contacting me. Again, hopefully that makes sense with these arrows. So just a brief overview of our programs. We really just want to hammer in what this program is, who your Vista is, and what they'll be doing, because that's important. So the overall goal of Vista, as I mentioned, is that they're there to help alleviate poverty in your community. That was relevant in your application, or whoever applied within your organization for a Vista. That anti-poverty link had to be present and relevant throughout that application and their Vista assignment description. Members serve full time. I say 24/7 because technically they're on call 24/7. We, of course, do not expect for your member to serve with you and your organization 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for a whole year. That's just to say that they have to be flexible to you and your organization's needs. If you're hosting an event on a weekend or an evening, your Vista cannot use the excuse, oh, well, I've already put in 40 hours. So again, it's not a 9-to-5 job. We generally expect that Vistas will serve around 40 hours a week, but we don't track hours. It's really up to you and your organization's needs of how long and how many hours a Vista is serving. So HostSite provides day-to-day supervision. This is your Vista. We oversee this Vista process, make sure you're in compliance, make sure you're meeting your requirements and that your Vista is successful, and we're here to help you and assist you. But this is your Vista. We expect you to be communicating with and monitoring your Vista in terms of their impact, the impact that they're making on the project and on your site and your community. Again, these projects must build capacity. So this is primarily focused on and serving in an indirect capacity. We say the split is about 80 to 90% indirect service to 10 to 20% direct service. Doesn't mean that a Vista cannot engage whatsoever, clearly, in terms of direct service, but that's really saying that they're there for a specific reason, for a specific project. They're not there to answer phones or to file papers or to run errands. They're there for that Vista assignment description. They have a specific project that's helping to build capacity for your organization and to ultimately alleviate poverty. Projects must align with our priorities. You should know this from our application or whoever applied. Our big priorities are education or veterans, so all of your projects fit within those bigger initiatives and priorities. I'm not going to get into the weeds on this because we're kind of beyond that. Hopefully, well, you should all be in line already since we've applied and approved. You've applied and we've approved of your projects. service term is January 30th, 2017 to January 29th, 2018, so they are with you for a full year. A reminder, we've mentioned this in email correspondence, but your Vista will be in Missoula for a Montana Campus Compact training January 30th and 31st, so their first day with you will be February 1st. Note about cost share, please expect an invoice to arrive at via email from our office manager sometime in the next few weeks. We will bill you quarterly. You can certainly work with us to create your own pay schedule if you so choose. So another essential piece that deserves its own slide of Montana Campus Compact is our campus community partnership. This is vital to the mission, to our mission. We are this statewide coalition of college, universities, and presidents. So we expect, and well, I'll back up and say that our Vista projects really aim to foster partnerships between your community and your local campus. So again, that really is to benefit and improve community life, to educate students for civic and social responsibility. So lots of ways we see that community partnership engaged is in setting up volunteer opportunities for students for your organization. These campus partnerships help to address community needs by utilizing the resources of higher education. Campuses are a great resource. We also these partnerships will also offer campuses, schools, organizations the opportunity to build sustainable infrastructure to alleviate poverty, again, by leveraging those resources. So you all chose a campus partner in your application. Some of you have said, and it's okay if your Vista is working to establish and create those specific partnerships with universities. Some of you have statewide collaborations and partnerships with colleges and universities. We will ask that a campus partner that you're working with the most closely be present for our site visits, which we'll get into. There's a kind of compliance and monitoring site visits. We have 2 annual visits. So again, it is essential that this is a big piece of your Vista's project and work. Okay. So something that's really going to help you and your Vista in this service year is for you to know the Vista assignment description. So please do your homework. We know that you've got lots of other stuff going on, but this is vital. This is the heart of your Vista service with your organization, is this Vista assignment description. I sent this out in an email to you all, and hopefully you've all looked through it. Please, again, chime in now with questions, or we can talk afterwards if there's something that you're not really understanding about that. But again, it should be familiar. These are ultimately your words and your project that we just kind of finagled a little bit more into our requirements. But again, it describes the Vista's role, the overarching goal of their project. It outlines specific objectives and activities and includes these performance measures, which we'll get into, that's going to be vital for your Vista to report on. You also to be discussing and reviewing this Vista assignment description with your Vista on their on-site orientation training, which again we'll get into here in a few slides. So compliance. Your Vista will be engaged, and you are both engaged in generally some monthly tasks to ensure that your Vista is meeting the requirements that we set up for them, and that Montana Campus Compact is meeting our federal requirements and state requirements as well. So your Vista will be engaged in monthly reporting, and they will learn all of this in our on-site orientation training next week. That's going to be a Google form that's going to incorporate the performance measures that you selected in your application. They will also compile monthly and complete monthly work plans, and both of these items will be disseminated by our Vista leader. They'll be every month will be a reminder for these tasks to be completed. This work plan is going to help your Vista really break down that Vista assignment description into month-long chunks or 2-week chunks, but really it's a month's work plan. And it's going to be really helpful for you to be reviewing that with your Vista, especially those first few months, to really guiding your Vista through the tasks that's going to help organize and acquaint them to the project and your site specifically. So I mentioned that we don't have timesheets, but we do have activity logs. I'll show a slide of what those things look like, but your Vista will be filling those out. It's a way to track hours. Again, we don't collect them. It's more just for you and your Vista to recognize, like, oh gosh, this Vista served 50 hours this week. Maybe we'll cut down on next week, or wow, it seems like you're not really serving very much, so you're down to 30 hours. Let's try to get you up It's really more for you and your supervision of this Vista, and I'm just tracking what they're doing. This is also a compliance piece. This needs to stay, these activity logs will need to stay at your site for 7 years. Sorry about that, but that's if we were to ever be audited. We need proof in showing that we in fact did have a Vista with your site. Compliance requirements on your end, you'll be signing off on those activity logs. That's a monthly signature of just reviewing that your Vista is in compliance and completing those logs. Reviewing those reports, especially in the beginning, really walking and helping your Vista to complete those work plans and reports. You'll also be submitting your Vista's personal and medical days, and there's a Google form for that, which I'll show you. And then there's an end of term impact report at the very end of service that you will complete with your Vista and yourself to just go over the overall impact. We'll also have, as I mentioned, 2 compliance site visits this spring and this fall. That's really a great opportunity for your Vista to show off what they've been doing, for us to answer any questions or basically help your Vista find success in their project. Okay, so let's get into this a little more. So I mentioned that we have monthly reports. This is a chart. Basically, took the performance measures that you selected in your application, or whoever wrote your Montana Campus Compact Vista application, into a chart for your Vista to easily view when they complete their monthly report each month. So these are performance measures with the targets you selected, with the data collection methods that you also wrote down. So again, this is going to be, we're going to ask that your Vista reviews this with you to fully understand what they're going to be tracking each month. The monthly report contains these performance measures as well as a slew of other performance measures that we use for our reporting, that we use for kind of infographics and information for our funders to prove that we're making a difference. The work plans, they're really based on, and your Vista, we will train your Vista in creating these monthly work plans, but they're really going to be based on SMART goals. So again, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely goals that your Vista will use to really, again, to find success in your project month by month and to complete those objectives and activities and also those performance measures. Here are those daily activity logs. This is what you'll be signing up on each month. Your Vista will be provided with these next week. And then personal and medical leave. So your Vista has 10 personal leave days and 10 medical leave days. We really, really would like your help in ensuring that your Vista follow these guidelines of this leave. They can request more days depending on the circumstances, but we really rely on you as a host site supervisor to be tracking and monitoring this leave. Your Vista will not be calling me up to see if they can go to Hawaii in February. They're going to be talking with you about the time that they take off of your service and your project. In terms of national holidays, Vistas will observe only the ones set out by your organization, and they do not count as personal leave days. Those are just national holidays. Here's our personal and medical leave form. So our office manager will be sending you an email each month to complete this simple Google form with the leave that your Vista took. In those activity logs, which I didn't mention, there's a spot for personal and medical leave taken, so your Vista can track that. So really, you just take what's on that activity log and put it into this chart. Okay, if there's any questions about compliance, we're going to move on to some added benefits for your Vista. So this is a pretty new, someone's just going to ask a question?
I do have a quick question. Will you provide all the Google links to us, or how are we going to get into the forums?
Yep, thanks, Tim. So our office manager will be providing the links to the personal and medical leave. Your Vista will be provided those activity logs, which are just on paper, as well as the reports every month, and then the kind of reminder to complete a work plan. And that work plan will be due to our office. I hope that answers your question. So really everything that we ask of you, we will let you know beforehand. We don't expect you to remember all this. And we know that you're busy people who have jobs outside of hosting this Vista. So we'll be as on top of it as we possibly can, reminding you to submit these things when they're due. Thanks, Tim. So a benefit as of May 2015, I believe, is that Vistas can now seek outside employment They must be approved by you and also by me and also by our state office. And there's a form that VISTAs fill out. They'll be provided with this at their pre-service orientation. Really, the stipulations are that the employment cannot interfere with service. Say if the job started at 2 p.m., that's you get to decide if that's going to conflict with the service requirements, which I would say probably yes, if another job began at 2 p.m. So it's really kind of after hours, but again, a VISTA must be flexible to meet your needs beyond the 9 to 5 workday. So again, it's up to you to determine if that's going to be allowable. VISTAs can also enroll in educational courses that cannot be full-time, and similar to outside employment, it cannot conflict. But it's certainly a VISTA can pursue that if they so desire. Some other prohibitions. So VISTAs in their VISTA role, this is not on a personal level, but in their VISTA hat, they cannot engage politically, religiously, or in union organizing, providing abortion services, consume alcohol, and engage in any safety risks. So we ask for your help in meeting these prohibitions. So what you can do to help support your member is assist in their local housing. All of your VISTAs are relocating to serve with you, and so you may have already been engaged in this process of helping your VISTA find local housing in your community. Other things that you can do is provide food. You can take your VISTA out to dinner or to lunch. We just can't hand them, here's $10 for your dinner tonight. There's just no cash or gift cards, but you can certainly, like I said, take them out to dinner or provide some other, again, it's just the exchange of cash or gift cards are excluded. Clothing is okay, something especially with your agency logo. Providing recognition. We, of course, would like you to introduce your Montana Campus Compact VISTA as a Montana Campus Compact VISTA. And your VISTA will learn a little elevator speech. It's pretty long, but it's basically it goes, hello, my name is so-and-so. I'm a Montana Campus Compact VISTA serving with Missoula Food Bank, for example. Again, it's quite a spiel, but these are all important pieces of who they are and what they're doing for this 1 year of service. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit into trainings. And lucky VISTA, they received 3 different trainings. The first one is, and they're all concurrent actually, so the first one on the list anyway, is the Montana Campus Compact Pre-Service Orientation. There's an, oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? An acronym for pre-service orientation that we use a lot, PSO. So that will be in person, as I mentioned, January 30th and 31st in Missoula, that we're working with your VISTA and emailing, calling to make sure that they're here on time for that. We will cover everything that we're covering here, but in much greater detail about their requirements, their expectations, what it means to be a VISTA, not fully getting into their VISTA assignment description, but really hammering in that that's going to be the vital piece, the heart of their VISTA project. They're also going to learn some professional development skills such as communication and leadership. I'm actually going to email you those activities that we complete with your VISTA so that you can think about what your leadership style is, what your communication style is, so you can have those good conversations with your VISTA when they come on to lay that foundation of a successful service year. And you are a big piece of that. The other ongoing training is the PSO blend, and you all should have received an email regarding this training. If I'll throw it in the email that I send out after this webinar as well. But I'll get into it in this next slide here. So that's going to be ongoing for 3 weeks starting January 30th. And then there's this training piece with you, the on-site orientation and training plan, which I'll get into in a minute. So let's go into depth about this PSO blend. So this is a lot of words, but basically the overall goal of a PSO blend, it's a national training model. All VISTAs, it's a mandatory training model, so all VISTAs are enrolled in this PSO blend around the country. And it's a combination of online webinars, field assignments is what they call them, and then these classrooms. And here's I'll skip this. So here's a schedule of the actual webinars and virtual meetups. There will be assignments in addition to this, but this is a part of that calendar that I sent out. I made some updates to that calendar as well. But the important thing for you to know, so your VISTA will be engaged in a webinar at the Montana Campus Compact pre-service orientation this Monday at 1 p.m. Their first day with you, February 1st on Wednesday, they have an hour-long webinar. And they'll know about this, but we really are hoping that you can help to acknowledge that on their first day of service. We realize it's not convenient for the first day of service with you for a webinar to be thrown in there at 1 p.m., but this is the national training model. We don't have control of that. So their VISTA must attend that training, and it's going to be, there's guidance that your VISTA will receive, and that also that's in that email from this national training model about how to adequately prepare for that. Let's step it back a bit. So something that we're hoping that you can do before your VISTA's arrival is to just ensure that they have necessary equipment. Really, it's a phone and computer. A webcam is nice as well, access to internet. And here's a link actually to do a test meeting just to make sure that it works. If all else fails, your VISTA probably has some sort of smartphone that they can watch from that, but this is part of the overall training for a VISTA, so we expect you to comply with us and to help your VISTA to meet these requirements. Okay, we're going to get into other stuff. So again, that's that schedule. That's in that calendar that you received. There's been some confusion about this. There's been some good questions via email from some of you about these other requirements. So that email guidance contained guidance about fingerprints and then the oath, saying that you need to play a role in the fingerprints and the oath. However, because we are hosting your VISTAs for 2 days in Missoula, we're going to do this stuff together. Not all VISTA intermediaries or VISTA programs around the state or the country are able to have an in-person training. We think it's essential to get to know your VISTAs and for them to get to know each other. So that's why we do it, but it's not mandatory. So that's the guidance, is assuming that the VISTA's first day of service is with you on January 30th. So VISTAs will receive guidance on how to complete this task of getting fingerprints and sending them off. They're actually going to do that on their own, but they're going to receive those packets with us, and they have until March 1st, and they'll know this, to submit those fingerprints. And they also receive funding from us to do that task. They also take an oath. It's an oath of service that they put up the right hand and they swear. I don't provide it here, but it's you can provide the guidance. It's actually the oath that the president takes when he or she is sworn into office. And the VISTAs must then sign this paper copy of this oath, and they will do that with us, and we will send that in. This is a picture of our Missoula Mayor, John Engen, with one of our VISTA classes this summer. We do have some males serving, but this happens to be a full class of women here in this picture. Okay, so let's talk about that on-site orientation and training plan. Again, I sent this out in an email. I'm happy to send it out again if you'd like me to, but this is your responsibility for your first 3 weeks. So everything is concurrent. Just let's keep that in mind. This is the first 3 weeks of your VISTA service, while they'll also be engaged in that PSO blend training. And the purpose is it's all about laying a foundation, is establishing effective working relationships service relationship between your VISTA and you, between your site, assuming that you might have some other staff members at your organization, and also your community. As I mentioned, all of these VISTAs are moving either across the state or across the country to serve with you. Many have never been to Montana before, so that immersion into your organization, into your community, into the state is going to be vital for their success. So we kind of broke it down to if you've looked at it, the on-site orientation and training plan is very thorough. The first week is pretty much getting to know your organization and the community. Second week is getting to know your community, the campus partner. And third week is, we call it the journey begins. So really kind of setting out that foundation, or laying the path to quality work plans, understanding that VISTA assignment description, and moving forward with your project. Okay, feel free again to stop me with questions. So a big underlying piece of this is you. We train your VISTA. Your VISTA should have really the tools to start a successful year of service. But what's really going to aid and impact the greatest, essentially, of their success is your influence, of your strong influence, of you taking responsibility for the VISTA project and supervising your VISTA and understanding that VISTA assignment description, of you communicating regularly with your VISTA. We would love for you to set up a weekly meeting with your VISTA, especially in the beginning of their service, We understand if that maybe will not carry out through the whole year, but really, again, taking that time to meet face-to-face, setting the stage for that successful communication, regular communication with your Vista. It's also investing in the Vista's professional development, seeing the bigger picture outside of this Vista. This Vista is with you for a year, maybe 2, if you choose to apply for a second year of a continuation of your project, if your Vista would like to stay for a second year. But really, it's a 1-year commitment. So we're interested in the bigger picture, too, of setting this Vista up for success professionally after the year of service. And that includes a component of mentoring your Vista in your site and then also professionally. And really, largely, this is kind of why we went through this in this webinar, to understand the greater picture of Vista and the purpose of this program. Here are some best practices that we're laying out for you. We would love for you to expect 5 to 10% of your week to go towards supervision, especially in the beginning, especially because all of your Vistas are new to national service to your community. We've already said this before, but really helping them assimilate into your community and work environment, giving them professional guidance. We ask you to treat your members as staff. Again, they're not a staff member, they're a national service member, and they're serving with your organization. But that being said, we want them to be treated as staff. And so if you're having staff meetings, have them be a part of those staff meetings. If you engage in staff service days, have your Vista be a part of that staff service day. If you have staff-wide projects, etc., include your Vista in that. And of course, to acknowledge great work when possible. Here's a link to a supervision style. I'm going to send this out so you can maybe click on that. But really, that's just to say, to get a good sense, if you have not supervised anyone before, or if this is your first Vista, it's good to just do some interpersonal work to figure out how you function with a team or with supervising someone new. So all of that wrapped into this one slide. Kind of to sum it all up, Vista is a 2-sided coin. On one side, Vista is here to get things done for your organization. Vista motto is get things done for America. So they're there to make a big impact. On the other side, it's again that bigger picture. We would love for you to engage in your Vista's professional development and in their immersion in your community and culture and workplace. And to see this overall goal, which is to spark the Vista's desire to engage in their local communities or in a local community, and to continue to prioritize service and future endeavors, to really set the stage for a lifelong, civically engaged citizen. Okay, now I'm going to put you all on the spot. We've got like 2 more slides, so we're wrapping this up pretty quickly here. But we'd love to know how you will support your Vista, especially in those first few weeks. You can repeat something that I've mentioned in these slides that you hope to do for your Vista, or anything else that you think you would like to engage in. And well, I think you can all unmute yourself. But okay, I'm just gonna unmute everyone. So if there's background noise, I might mute everyone again. But right now, you should all be able to chime in. And Julie, if you're still there, I'm going to put you on the spot. You mentioned something to me yesterday that I thought was a great idea.
Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned that you're interested in taking your Vistas out to dinner, basically.
Yep, absolutely. We're even going to try and get the Lieutenant Governor to come with us.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Julie. Anyone else have any ideas? We'd love to hear them.
Right off the bat, we'll be doing some staff meetings and things like that where our Vista will get to know our small staff, and then we'll also be working with our partner agency and doing meetings there as well, and getting introductions and traveling our region. So we're working a pretty big region, so our Vista is going to be traveling a lot. So that'll be a big part of it. So we'll be sharing a lot of meals together.
Good bonding time. Great.
This is Ellie. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Similarly, we've already started doing weekly staff meetings so that we're in the habit of it before our Vista comes, and we can kind of add them in a more smooth way to combat. And there was something else I was going to say, but I've lost it now. So.
Great, thanks. Okay, well, something to keep thinking about. So I'm going to mute everyone and then move on. But again, feel free to unmute yourself and chime in if you just thought of something. Oops. Let me continue this slide. So just to reiterate this timeline, we've got a jam-packed couple of weeks coming up here. And this is all spelled out in that program your calendar that I sent you, but we've actually made some updates. So I'm going to resend that to you, and your Vista will also be receiving that program your calendar. So you've already heard this all, but I'm going to reiterate it one more time. We've got our Montana Campus Compact, Vista, PSO, or Pre-Service Orientation, January 30th and 31st. First day at your site, February 1st. That second PSO Blend webinar that your Vista will register for and must attend is February 1st at 1 p.m. That Vista Blend overall will go until February 17th, and this is on that updated program your calendar. It might be on the old one that you have too. And that's, again, it's webinars, it's assignments, and it's mandatory. We also will conduct, both the Vista leader will conduct this with your Vista, and I will conduct this with you. Check-in calls a couple weeks in just to see how things are going. If you've got any questions, concerns, feedback, etc., we'd love to hear it so we can, again, it's all about how we can best support you in this year-long commitment. Our Vista leader also conducts monthly webinar calls with some ongoing support for your Vistas. February 16th, that will be the first one, and again, that's going to be every month at 10 a.m. And we would like your Vista to prioritize this as much as you and him or her can. We've also have an online training series, and this is not on your program, your calendar, but it's something that we host every spring. Again, it's a Community Building Institute training, so it's a webinar. It's a 1-hour webinar, 6 weeks, I believe, for your Vista to learn more about how to market your cause, how to evaluate your cause, how to increase sustainability, lots of other things. But it's really, again, building, we call it a community building life cycle. So understanding holistically what it means to build capacity, what it means to build sustainability with your organization or causes in general. Our first, beyond the in-person PSO, our next opportunity for your Vista to meet not just each other again, but the greater, we have got 23 members around the state now, or it'll be 27 members around the state, I believe. We'll be at the Serve Montana Symposium, which is in Helena, the evening of March 7th to March 10th, and we're engaging AmeriCorps, the broader umbrella of AmeriCorps in Montana. So there'll be over 200 people there, which will be a really fun opportunity for your Vista to, again, understand the bigger picture of national service and to network and to meet one another. And we'll conduct site visits in April and May. So that's the next.
I have a question about the monthly webinar call. The third Thursday of every month from 10 to 11:30 is a set meeting of the community action team here, which is a part of what the Vista here is going to be involved with. Is that monthly webinar call the same time every month?
Yes.
Third Thursday at 10?
That's good to know, and I think the Vista leader can, if that's going to be an issue for other people too, then he can kind of screen all of the Vistas to see if a better time might be more appropriate, especially because of that commitment. Additionally, the webinars will be recorded. We would love, of course, for all Vistas to attend. It's a great way to be networking every month with each other. But that's something that I can chat with our Vista leader about to see if maybe we can do that.
Yeah, because that team's been meeting for 3 years. They're not going to be able to change their time.
Sure. Yeah, we understand. And of course, there are some mandatory components. We expect your Vista to attend all of our in-person events, and for you to be as flexible as you can with allowing your Vista to attend these, for example, monthly webinar calls. But we understand that things come up and their services are priority. So we'll certainly work with you on any potential conflicts.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Kathy.
Is the Serve Montana Symposium in Helena again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so your Vista won't have to travel. Okay, one thing we also want to mention is we love hearing the great service of your Vista. For you to, we hope that you introduce them within your organization, whether in a newsletter or a staff meeting or on Facebook. and we'd love to hear about it if you can. Snap some photos. Especially, your Vista will be receiving a Montana Campus Compact Vista shirt. So any photos of them and their shirt, of course, we want to hear about and advertise. We also have, there's opportunities for us to receive statewide and also national press for the great work of or service of your Vista. And that's what we have. Here's our contact information. I also, I forgot to mention in the beginning here that we also want to thank you. We've had a successful recruitment class for this January cycle, and it's in large part to your efforts of following our guidelines and intaking, interviewing, and screening those potential applicants and ultimately choosing the best fit for you. So we think we've got some great vistas lined up for this coming year, and certainly in large part because of your efforts and your work and your time in committing overall to this process of recruiting a Vista, and then of course to successfully onboarding them and sticking with it for a year. And just to reiterate that our office is here to support you. That's my main role, is to support you and your Vista, and the Vista leader as well. That's our full-time service, is to help you and your Vista succeed. And Heidi, I actually forgot to mention this, but Heidi is new to our office, which is why she kind of sat in on this webinar. But she'll be mostly helping with the Community Building Institute and the trainings and more on the back end side of things. So I'd love to take any questions, but I'll just be quiet in case anyone does have questions. But if you don't, you're free to go, and thank you so much for being here.
On our calendar, you have the 911 day of service. Are we required to create a day of service?
Good question. So yeah, your Vista, that'll be a part of their training too, to learning about these national days of service. So we have 2 right now anyway, 9/11 day of service, and then Dr. MLK Jr. day of service, which we just had with our January, with our other Vista members. But the Vista leader will be coordinating efforts. If you have a specific project in mind, great, we'd love to hear it. But your Vista will mostly be networking with other Vistas in their community or around the state with our office to engage in service for that day.
And they're required to attend that day.
Well, yes, sometimes I think for example, MLK Jr. in some cases it's a holiday that most organizations take off. So some Vistas engage in service on, say, the Friday before. And I'm not sure what day 9/11 is this year. It looks like it's a Monday. So it's either, basically around that day, working with you, of course, in each site to determine maybe what the best day of service will be.
Okay. And is there a graduation?
Yes, and that's on the program year calendar. So I didn't go through all of the trainings that we have, but we do have a close of service. Oh, that's actually not on the calendar. I don't think I put that on the calendar. So I think because we're still trying to figure out when that's going to be, because we have a big class of Vistas in summertime. We had 23 Vistas start, and this class is a little smaller. There are 9 Vistas coming on. So it'll be sometime, probably, it might be connected to Building Engaged Citizens, which is that training in October. We might include it in that training, but it might also be sometime in October, November. We'll try to find that out, figure that out as soon as possible so we can give you as much notice as we can. But yes, we definitely take the time to honor your Vista's service, to reflect on their service, to highlight their accomplishments and achievements together in person. Good question.
Who does the site visits?
Thanks, Jim. So the site visits are primarily conducted by me and our Vista leader. So they're usually about an hour and a half. They can last up to 2 hours, depending on how much time you have. But where the Vista leader will set aside with the Vista in basically just a personal one-on-one check-in, and then I'll be doing the same with each program, with each site supervisor, checking in about how things are going. Also a list of compliance questions, and then we come back together and spend the next chunk of time working through basically progress towards the Vista assignment description. Do the performance measures make sense? Talking about that campus partnership and other successes and challenges. And Heidi might sit down a couple since she's new, but it'll usually just be myself and Sam. the Vista.
You should bring Heidi with you.
Maybe I will.
Yeah, I'll come to that one.
Okay. Well, if that's everything, then good luck with your vistas next week, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.